be on my best behavior.
Welcome to 3DS. Yes, yes, yes. Anyways, we're 3DS, three bros who have common interests, but three different ways of thinking about it. In no way anything we say is financial advice. Do your own research for entertainment purposes only. Now that we got that out the way, we're clowns. We don't know anything. We're just having a good time having some conversation. We got Corey and we got Nate.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
get into it.
Kick it off, bro.
So, we're going to talk about the latest and the greatest crypto news. What has broke this week? And the first thing we're going to talk about is the 60 Minutes. Got everybody all spun up. Did you happen to watch that, Corey?
I did not watch it, but when I see things like that, I feel like there's always a pullback. Like anytime any like Elon Musk going on Saturday Night Live, well, that was like
Hmm.
the crash of Doge, but I just feel like, it's an indicator that once it goes that big, there's going to be a pullback. And I'm pretty sure when I do know what you're referring to when it happened, I believe that's when the prices dropped a little bit. We had that dip the other day.
So I know that Nate watched it, and Nate, you wanna
Well, I
fill us
mean,
in and your thoughts on what how you feel about it?
well, we had a conversation about it the other day too, and I just, not just Brad Garlinghouse, but all the conversations surrounding that being, fear based, trigger words, everything you can think of about crypto, as far as the institutional side, how they would want to attack it. I mean, they're talking about human trafficking, they're talking about, drug deals, yada, yada, yada. You can't track the money, which clearly is just ignorance because you can't track the money, but, the
It's the
public ledgers
blockchain,
and
baby.
stuff like that. But like I said, the hit piece around it, I think, somewhat strategical, but also probably somewhat just naivete and wanting to get up there and speak and have that impact in the marketplace.
Hmm.
But also, like I said too, with that pullback, who'd you see still buying that crypto at I mean, $97,000? Although it's a pullback, like it's not a bargain. So
Yeah,
obviously, the interest from that side, I think, if you can have the mindset and scale it, like, and just read it for what it is, don't
absolutely.
even think about it, because either way,
Yeah.
I mean, they're trading money. All those things happen on a daily basis currently with the current platform. So you're not
Right.
going to get away from it, no matter if we're using rocks to trade. Like it doesn't matter.
Sure.
I'll give you 20 rocks to traffic this, whatever. From
Yeah.
that perspective. So
Well, I
that
think
was kind of
the
my
the
perspective on it.
for sure. I think the big thing is the boomer generation. They're the largest demographic that watches 60 Minutes, and it really probably tainted their view of cryptocurrency. So, and yeah, it was a hit piece, but I think at the end of the day, it's on us, right? So we've been carrying the torch
Yeah.
thus far. We got to continue to advocate for it and give our piece on why. Just take what was said and put the facts to it. Hey, this isn't what's happening. And also I'm blanking on his name, the fellow he's one of Gensler's goons. So
It's Jason Reed.
Jason Reed, there you go. And he's probably salty he don't have any coin.
So to add to like what he was saying about how they always bring up, human trafficking, oh, Bitcoin started off with drugs and whatever, the same old, you hear it come around every single time. Um, I think that's such a weak argument because the thing that has done the most damage in our modern society is the US dollar. Like
Hmm.
there's been more drug deals and human trafficking in dollars than
Untraceable.
untraceable, yeah, that there's no blockchain to verify it, none of that. Um, and like you said, it's ignorance because specifically Bitcoin is very traceable. Um, Obviously, there's things that you could do to
Hmm.
evade them. I don't know if you guys heard the story about the young group of kids that scammed some dude for like $200 million worth of Bitcoin. You
Yeah.
guys
Hmm.
hear? So basically, it's funny to me because they found that guy They tricked him into being like Google support and saying that he had been hacked. Long story short, they had him screen share and they got his seed phrase, drained his wallet. Then they started sending it. They sent it to Bitcoin, to Litecoin, to some like other cryptos, and then ran it through a mixer, which mixers kind of are not
They
trackable.
tried to essentially launder it.
Yes. And then, but the kid he was stupid. They probably would have got away with it, honestly. But he was doing things like going in the club and spending $250,000 a night, buying $25,000 bottles, buying Rolexes, private jets.
It's always like the movies. It's that you got the one guy who doesn't know how to just chill out for a little bit, lay low.
Yeah. But so yeah, that argument is crazy when they come up and they try to pin it to that. So
So, with that giant pullback though, I think it's important to not lose sight of the fact that MicroStrategies is not slowing down. They will buy the top, the bottom, the middle, whatever. So, with that being said, 2.1 billion was bought on Monday morning before everything pulled back. And
yeah.
Michael Saylor, he don't give a fuck. This man is all in. So
I don't think anybody's been more educational for the masses than the impact that he's had probably over the past 6 months as far as Bitcoin. Like I'm seeing this guy literally everywhere, like talking
mhm.
to one, strategizing for businesses, corporations, governments, even like it's pretty crazy, and I love to see it. But
Yeah. Well, and with that, I mean, he went and he talked to Microsoft, tried to talk them into a you are converting into the reserves that they have for Microsoft into Bitcoin. And so they voted on that today.
not great.
The results weren't good, but
Yeah.
Well, not for them.
yeah, right. Yeah, important context. Wasn't
No,
great for Microsoft, and they're going to be kicking themselves in the behind later on because when you got every asset manager in the world trying to pour every penny they have into it, and then you have a company like Microsoft who's just they don't have the vision, they don't have the innovation. What does that say about their products? They're stale.
Yeah.
well, they got money. They got different mindset. They've been focused on another industry for a very long time. So I'm not
Sure.
going to Bill Gates because I could. That's a whole podcast right there. But I just whatever for whatever reason they voted in that direction. I mean, I don't necessarily think it's a bad thing for anybody looking to get into it, but their loss.
I
What do you
think
think,
he
Corey?
definitely had an influence over it because he's been against Bitcoin for a while now. Bill Gates have. I mean,
Bill
I know
Gates.
it's a board and it's a bunch of people that are voting on it, but he is the head of the company, so I feel like he did kind of sway it. If he wasn't in the picture, they probably would have jumped on board. But they will eventually. I keep saying it, it's a get down or lay down situation. You're either going to get
Absolutely.
down with the program or you're going to be forced to go along with it. Again, it's like
Absolutely.
smartphones. Like you can't have a job today where you're not using it, unless it's like something very basic. But like I know the second I showed up at the car lot, hey, download this app, this app, this app. If I don't have a
Yep.
smartphone, I can't interact and do my job the way I'm supposed to be doing it. But
Right.
Amazon, I see Amazon, they're talking about doing something similar.
Yep.
I feel like they're more likely. Apple is more likely. Their
Yep.
CEO has already come out and said he personally owns it. It's just a
Yeah.
matter of time.
It's an adoption thing, right?
Yeah,
We kind of talked a little bit about it previously, but getting folks to adopt into a new culture is the hardest part. Once the adoption happens, it's a locomotive. It's hard to stop, but it's getting the folks to, and I mean the boomers are the ones carrying the most wealth right now out of all the generations. So it's going to eventually trickle down, and the younger generation, Gen Z, is going to the millennials, everybody's going to already on board with it. So
Yeah,
it's
we're gonna inherit that money,
right.
whether they personally decide to invest or not, because
Correct.
their financial advisors, their, what Edward Jones and things like that,
Sure.
they are allocating into it and will allocate into it and are
Hmm.
gonna invest in it, or the boomers are just gonna be like personally, like the conversation you overheard, somebody's gonna buy it, you
Oh
know.
yeah. Yeah.
Well, not just that, but all those assets that get passed down. I mean, most of the kids, I'm not going to keep anything that my parents are, physically what it is. I'm going to exchange it for its monetary value and place that somewhere in the market, be it crypto, be it, you know,
Hmm.
whatever I'm interested in long term. But so it's not just if they were, divested into those situations, but also getting rid of those assets, houses. I mean, most of these boomers' houses, my God, for me to repair and remodel the one that I'd be receiving, it's not even worth the time, the money, the headache, states
Yep.
away. Like, well, I'll just dump it. Here's some cash value, and what can I do with it? So,
Rolling into some crypto, baby.
Yeah. Yeah.
minimum.
So inflation reports came out today. Did y'all see that?
I did 2.7%, brother.
It's
I think
it's
it's higher.
crazy.
It's crazy. I mean, God, you got to understand too, the level of government spending in the past just 90 days, bro, is outrageous. Like I seen not to kind of change topics, but I seen somebody online today, or maybe it was a post from yesterday, but it was on the news, and they were talking about how can we spend $100 billion on Bitcoin, taxpayer money, XYZ, and that whole thing, they're talking about transferring their gold wealth into Bitcoin. But it's like, why would you not put for the first time in history, they're going to put taxpayer money somewhere where it's going to increase in value and maybe somehow be distributed, throughout our infrastructure or system. And
Yep.
it was for me to see this, like, we're investing in America for fuck's sake. We just spent
Finally.
$7 trillion over the past 4 years, and we didn't do a damn thing to increase our GDP or lower our debt. So
Mhm.
Mhm.
how do you send money away when you don't have any money? I mean, if one of y'all called me and said I need, 50K, and I'm like, bro, I just lost my job, I'm broke. Like, I can't go to the bank and get 50K and just send it off. We're $39
Yeah.
billion in debt. We need to start making some money.
Well, I know where you could go to send some 50K.
Where's that?
The blockchain, baby.
Well, yeah,
You,
currently.
it's funny too, to add to what he was saying, like that's kind of like the whole thing with the crypto and it being bad and criminals. Again, they always use the traditional media always use the same old rhetoric and things that they just regurgitate, and they've been doing it for years. If I came out and said, let's do XYZ, they're gonna be like, oh, well, where's this money gonna come from? Da 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 da. We already give them so much money and they're irresponsible with it. They spend it where we don't want to send it. We can send it to Ukraine, we can send it to all these, fund all these wars, and then fund all these three letter agencies that don't do anything for the public. And when they're what's the word I'm looking for? Like I think they were talking about the Pentagon the other day. They can't account for like $2 trillion. Like, how do you lose $2 trillion? They didn't lose it. They know exactly where it's at,
Oh yeah.
but they don't want to come out and say it. So again, we have all this money that they take from the public, and then when things are the public wants certain things, oh well, where's this money going to come from? Now we have to increase your taxes again. No, you don't. You have our money. You have enough money to do what needs to be done. You're just spending it elsewhere. So again,
Yeah.
that's their same old weak arguments that they always come up with, and it's like, oh well,
At
where's the
at
money coming from?
at
And
the end, go ahead, Nate.
the tax, the illusion that whatever I paid in taxes last year accounts for how much money that they globally is just ridiculous anyways. I mean, I
Absolutely.
know we're just kind of jumping from crypto straight into politics, but they seem to blend quite a bit these days.
Yeah, I mean they bleed over, they overlap a little bit. And
But
throw the Venn diagram in there, and you got positive overlap.
Crypto's a financial market now, so it's going
Mhm.
to tie into all those things. And inflation itself, so the inflation report, like
yeah,
to me, that's just another tax that they're hitting middle and lower class America with. You
Hmm.
know, they don't word it as a tax, but if I'm losing value year and year over year, like your purchasing power is dropping. I know within my lifetime, it's like 50%. So what's going to happen in another 30 years? You know,
Right.
like
I think,
it's probably going to be more than that.
yeah, I think that's kind of where I was going with. It's like if you really want to fund these things, well, just turn your printer on because you have the ability to do that. That's all
Mhm.
money is, this paper backed by gold, printed on a well, really backed by a federal bond. That's like the Fed is issuing the bond and they're issuing the bond that you're backing with the dollar. It's like
Right.
The
this
They're
is
the
biggest
one.
scam
They're the
ever.
customers
even
and the clerks.
like, I don't know. It's just
They're running to the other side of the counter and saying, "I'd like a deposit."
Yeah.
okay. Well, here you
Yeah,
go.
run to the other side, say, "I'd like a withdrawal."
Let me write you this IOU. You owe me how much? Like,
Yeah.
okay,
Yeah. At the end of the day, I mean, they're gonna if they need money, they're gonna make the money come out of it's
Thin
not
air.
thin air. It's not thin air, but they're gonna make it come out of a printer
but
somewhere.
you avoid.
But it is kind of thin air because they don't even really got to print it. They could just go in the computer and
Sure,
dude.
right.
You
They,
know, so
And
I mean,
Joke's probably sorry, go ahead.
at the end of the day, they only need the money for the paper trail to say, okay, well, we'll just use Ukraine for us, the biggest example. We sent them $2 billion. Here it is on paper. They sent Lockheed Martin, Northrop Gunthrop, every lobbyist organization in our country who supplies military, medical, whatever you need for a war, and it just flows right back in.
Yep,
Lobbyists and globalists put it right back into our politics, and that's why we stay in this situation.
yep.
yeah.
So that again, the money's just there so they can say, "Hey, we did it. Here's where it went. Here's X." I mean, they don't show you where it goes. You just got to go look at that. But
For sure. So Nate hit me up earlier in the week, and he he did some AI work, right? And he asked him about uh, H bar. I'm gonna let him take over and tell you what they said about H bar. It's wild.
so, what was interesting, even more so to me, Bo, is when I did the initial search and the initial look at this, it didn't say like the top paragraphs have changed. So this is what it says. Hedera Hashgraph HBAR has entered into a collaboration with SpaceX. Last time they said that was alleged. So now we're led by Elon Musk, blah, blah, blah. But essentially talking about satellite payments. So HBAR to facilitate, blockchain enabled financial transactions between satellite to satellite, potentially redefining payment networks in space. So I would imagine it's probably just faster, whatever you know, okay, so if the satellite is Starlink and everything goes Wi-Fi based monetarily, what's the fastest way to do that? Via the satellite or via, the 5G T-Mobile tower? I don't know. This is just a little speculation. Anyways, let me wrap this thing up because we've been on crypto for a minute, but the craziest thing to me was asteroid resource tokenization. So just minerals, stuff like that, tokenizing that on the blockchain. So that would essentially help in the participation of the mining projects that would go into that. I just thought that the conversation that there was even a tokenization of asteroid organics or space organics was mine.
That that's even on the table is
Yeah.
wild. I don't even know how that like I'm not smart enough to know how that even works, but that's
Very
Right.
wild.
science fiction stuff. But that's kind of like what Elon wants to do. He wants to be able to send satellites and robots to asteroids and mine them for like precious metals and stuff.
Sure,
So,
sure, sure.
Yeah.
you know,
And again, it ties into everything that, like, I mean, that's isn't the first time I've heard something crazy like that, but just to see it tied to H bar specifically. And I mean, they talk about how it's, more efficient. They talk about the security of it. So I just think that, anything tied to space is always going to get a lot of wow factor. So you just start tying crypto to space and then tokenize it and, whatever you want. You want to buy a star, you can get you some H bar and do so.
hey, maybe in 100, 200 years, we might have a colony on Mars, and I might need to send them some Bitcoin,
Yeah.
through the blockchain, and that's how it's going to be done. I can't, you know, I'm sure we could do it with today's things, but again, the future is moving into a new system. The best way to look at it is we're moving from like an old
My
financial system that's kind of on its way out the door, and this is the new thing that's going to replace it.
Yep.
one.
Yeah. So uh with that, it's so we have Jerome Powell, and he said Bitcoin is competing with gold, not the US dollar. So in my
That's what we
mind, that
want to hear.
yeah, that's what we want to hear. I mean, that's the dollar was passed up a long time ago, in my opinion. And then you have the first time ever the SEC called Bitcoin digital gold. So, it's wild that kind of bring it all full circle that you had the 60 minutes piece. They threw out those trigger words. And then in the same week, they also mentioned that the SEC also mentioned that it's digital gold. So they used to be on the 60-minute train, right? They used to think that it was all these terrible things, and now they kind of have come around to it. So I think, having all that said, I mean, you got the Ripple gets their, what was it? Oh, the
Stablecoin.
Stable coin approval.
stable coin. That's right. Yeah. So that just got approved. So I'm telling you, this thing is going, and it's going fast. December is already picking up steam. January is going to be banana man because you got the inauguration and everything. It's all going to be going all at the same time. We're not even going to have enough time on these sessions to talk about all the stuff that's happening. And then let's see what else we got. So, Floki launched Visa and MasterCard debit cards.
Very interesting. They just had some.
Yeah.
They just voted on something they're going to buy. They're buying another crypto. I can't remember exactly what it is. I'd have to pull that up. But
And
That's
Sui
a
just
big
launched on the DeFi side.
yeah,
Was it?
Sui, SUI, sorry,
Oh, okay,
SUI.
okay. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah. They launched on the DeFi side, so you can download not advocate for it, but you can download like a Phantom wallet, a SUI wallet, and then start trading or collecting meme coins.
Yeah, they're an L1. I think they're gonna be a leader in this through this cycle. Like they're gonna be one of the top ones. So I definitely want to keep eye on them.
You
They're
ready for it?
and they're tied in with Ondo, who's tied in with BlackRock and their whole tokenization and everything that they're trying to do.
You
Hit
ready
it.
for it? We're gonna end the crypto segment with your top 5 coins of the week. Nate, go.
of the week. Been a tough.
Of the week.
It's Wednesday, but I mean, I think my top five. I'm always going to be XRP. I bought a little in the dip. I bought a little SUI in the dip. I'm not gonna lie, that's definitely a top five coin for me. Bitcoin, I'm just gonna say this: Bitcoin is number one, but then there's five. We'll go altcoins,
Okay.
and after that, I'm gonna have to go with
Two more.
HBAR is getting a lot of traction, a lot of news. Even though if there's not a lot of price action yet, I mean it's only a matter of time. And to one of Corey's points, I think so many of these things are interlaced with each other, man. Like I was telling you the other day, I'll give you the fifth coin, and we'll get into that. But then, number five, I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna have to go with. I'm gonna have to go with Cosmos. I'm gonna have to go with
Cosmos.
Oh,
Adam
that's a good
in the
pick.
building.
Adam in the
That's a
bit.
good pick.
But to the other point I was going to make, that these things are so interlaced. I was talking to you about that, smart contracts on the ETH network, but you're executing, money movement on, let's say, the XRP ledger or, Cardano or vice versa, or just pick one. You're moving money in XLM, but maybe you execute a contract on the SUI or whoever they're working with, like he said, Ondo. So perfect example. I think there's going to be a lot of partnerships like that that we'll see. Because I don't like to move money on Ethereum. You know that.
No, yeah, I
that
hate it.
that joke is
There's
pockets.
They're
all
coming
right,
out with an upgrade sometime in 25 where they're I forget what they call it, but it's gonna supposed to be reducing their fees and everything. They have to. They have to now because the competition's so thick when it comes to things like that, you know, they need to lower their fees. Nobody wants to pay $60 to move $1,000 when you can do it for $1.
Couple cents.
you ready for your shotgun now?
Yep.
Top five meme coins for you this week.
Meme coins or just
Yeah,
coins?
you ain't nah meme coins. You ain't getting the
Okay.
same
All
app
right.
question.
All
Yeah.
right, so top coin meme coins again. Pepe is going to be number one, and I feel again not financial advice, but I feel like it's your safest bet. It's the Doge of the cycle, and then Chill Guy. It's got already got a viral uh
Following
clout behind it right now.
community.
And then I would say definitely go with PopCat. PopCat been screaming about PopCat since the summer. And then another little gem would be this one's is a high risk play, but it's been rocking on the Solana network. MAD, MAD. It's got a little
Hmm.
gremlin on there. It's only
Yeah.
like a $50 million market cap. And then another meme coin.
Last one.
I don't know, man. I'm gonna throw Gal out there. I know it's not a meme coin, but
No
get
Doge, no Shiba.
I
Wow.
mean, Doge, yeah, if I'm talking for people that are coming, like this is for like newcomers. If you've been in it, you're holding it. Doge and Shiba, mainly Doge. You can get away with Doge. I don't know about Shiba. I don't feel it doesn't feel like it felt in 21 as it does right now. I don't hear people really talking about Shiba, and Doge is always going to be around. It's the OG, it's the grandfather of them all. So, yeah, buy some Doge, but Shiba, I don't know, man. I don't know. I have some. I have both, but
Okay.
um I don't know as far as like where the buzz and the hype and where the money's gonna flow to. People that buy in meme coins are degens. They wanna put $20 in, $100 and make $100,000.
Sure.
Uh,
Yeah, they want to
you're
get rich quick scheme.
you're not really gonna get that with Doge at this point. I feel like you could probably make 1,000, maybe 5 grand off of $100 or something. But the big money marks, you got to get into these small caps. The market cap is too big on Doge.
You don't think Doge hits $1 this bull run?
No, I didn't say that. $1 is doable, but even from this point right now, if you bought right now, you're not gonna make the amount of money that you would make in like if you bought Mad. So like if you buy Mad right now, let's say it gets to $1 billion market cap and it's at 50 million. You, I don't even know what the math is on that off the top of my head, but you're making some money,
Right.
versus what is Doge at right now?
40 cent.
40 cent.
Yep.
Yeah, so if it doubles,
41 really.
Yeah, and really that's what you gotta have that internal debate. Like, okay, what am I investing this for? Am I trying to make money on this in
Mhm.
months? Am I trying to make money on this in 3 years, 30
Yeah.
years? My Bitcoin strategy is way different than my altcoin or even the meme coin or
For
even the
sure.
shit. Take it down another level. Like
Yeah.
Phantom's a different world, but so I think you just got to manage your risk factor and then understand, what kind of capital do you have? Do you have five? If you have $5,000 to put into a single coin, you can squeeze into something, a little different. Yeah, something around 50 cents, 70 cents, 90 cents, and still make extremely good money over the next 6 months. But like I said, you just
Yeah.
wherever you
Good
start,
point.
that's number one. Is just start somewhere and then start learning.
For sure.
Um,
Anything else you want to talk about anything else with crypto before we wrap it
J-
up?
just to tap on what you said about Floki and their MasterCard, that's kind of a big move for a meme coin because most of the other meme coins aren't really developing anything or trying to do anything. So that'll be interesting to see how that goes.
Yeah.
Normally the cryptos that have visas and cards are like the exchanges like Coinbase and
Yeah, I mean
crypto.com.
that could have been a little bit of a FUD there, but uh I'll have to go back and double check it, but I'm pretty sure it came from a reputable site.
Who, Floki?
Yeah.
Yeah, that came directly from them.
Yeah.
There you
But I'm
go.
just saying, like that's a move. That's a big
Yeah.
move, like
Yeah, yeah.
for them to do. So
Well, I think
it'll
that's
be
why
interesting to see how that goes.
100%.
Doge is where it's at because there it's accepted in sports arenas. It's accepted in to pay for sporting tickets. And then there's some use cases for it in like airports or something that I've seen. I think you could pay for it like in Europe on for like airfare and things like that. So, I mean, there's a few of them out there that have use cases for them. So,
And outside of that, if you want to expand on this, like I have a Visa, like, I have a Coinbase Visa card. I can go in there and dictate literally almost every coin that I'm invested in. I think I can use, and to kind of help break that down, because like somebody asked me about it, well, what do you mean they don't accept crypto? I said, yeah, I understand. Visa accepts crypto though. Like they'll gladly burn
Mhm.
off that fiat for me and take my crypto and start stacking it. Like they're starting to hold this as well. So just a little perspective on that.
So
absolutely.
and I told Bo about the conversation about people I was having talking to people at work and they're like, oh well, nobody accepts Bitcoin. You can't buy anything with it. And like you said, that's not true. Maybe again, MasterCard and them, they're gonna take it and convert it into fiat so you can buy whatever you want. But honestly, I don't know, man. Buying, unless you're deep in profits, spending your crypto doesn't make sense,
I
especially right now.
I am
Um,
waiting to go out here and just start buying. I just saying I do have one. I only got it to kind of investigate and see, okay, well, what are the limits of this? What do the
yeah,
taxes
For
look like?
sure.
Reading through everything, but like I said, you just get in there, and I mean, I can put it on XRP, I can throw it on Doge or even Shia.
hmm
It's pretty cool stuff. But yeah, definitely, I wouldn't be transacting that way, especially if you have fiat.
yeah. If you got some cash, you might as well spend the cash. We know that's going to zero, and and the cryptos are going north. So it just
This
Absolutely.
this plays in perfectly into the card company's hands, right? So
yeah.
you spend your crypto with them for the dollar amount. You're not paying for it in the crypto amount. You're paying for the dollar amount. So even if Doge is 40 cent today, I don't think they're converting it. I think they're building up their reserves off of you.
Exactly. Exactly. It's a way for
So
them, like he said, to stack their profile
and they
portfolio.
got enough of a enough capital where they can lend that out, right? They have the
Mhm.
fiat, they can so they're just putting all this in their reserve and everybody is, you know, making them rich by doing that. So
With crazier part, because it's even worse than like if I spend 10,000 on my Visa card with my crypto over the long run, it's even worse than me letting 10,000 sit in my savings account over the long run for them because they're
Yeah.
more money. I mean, they
yep.
might get, let's see, they're going to give me maybe, we'll talk about it, like 3%. They're going to loan my money out about 17%. So over the course of, 5 years, it's insane. But,
Yeah.
the upside for them at that point, you're talking about you could do 10%, 15% in a matter of minutes in the crypto world. So
Yeah. Literally just today, everything dropped what 15, 20%
shot back.
yesterday and the day before.
Yep.
Now it's literally right back where it was. Bitcoin's already over 100K again. And it's crazy because we've been waiting on 100K for so long and now it's like
No,
breaks 100K like every other day.
it's like, okay, well, good morning, everybody. Bitcoin's at 100K again.
Yep.
It just moves on. I mean, you just imagine the people who got their bad, average costs around $1, $5, $20. But I can't even imagine anybody would though, because they would have kept invest. Imagine holding it six. We'll say you got in initial 6 cent or 0.0006 or whatever it was, and then you went from there to 100. Bro, at that point I'd have been doing everything in my power. Every penny, every whatever I got is going into those Bitcoin funds because I'd be so blown away. And then 10 years later, I wouldn't even know what to do.
You really wouldn't have to do too much more, honestly. You won.
With the
Yep.
Checkmate.
It, checkmate, game, set, match.
Thanos snap. But
Uh,
we also brushed over this Amazon thing like it's a very small deal
no,
because
no, it's not. It's not.
I'm just checking the notes. I know Bo's got the timers going on me, but I'm getting deep. Well, I mean,
And I'm getting deep. We're digging.
we ain't even talked about nation stated. I got Iran on here talking about Bitcoin reserves, so they don't have to deal with sanctions. This is gonna be one of the number one trends in the world. Go moving forward, bro. It's gonna be it.
Yeah.
Like people ain't gonna deal with the U.S. dollar outside of the U.S. I don't think
Nope.
completely disappear transactionally, especially within the CONUS. I don't know. Alaska might get a little broke off out there. They too deep out there in Canada. They closer to Russia than us, but
The nation state thing isn't anything none of it's anything to brush over. It's all gonna come flowing in here on the market cap soon enough. And I was just trying to keep with time and potentially move that to the next week. But that's fine. We're in it. So uh grab your shovel. But the you got Iran, you got I think like 2 weeks ago was Morocco, maybe Jordan, another Middle Eastern area. It's just everybody is finally getting on board. Everybody
Brazil
is
too.
trying to get their approvals. Brazil, everybody's getting their approvals through their reserves to try to get this thing rolling. Because at the end of the day, though, I mean, yeah, nobody wants to use the dollar anymore, right? But everybody still looks to good old USA. What are they doing? How are they doing it?
Mhm.
Let's do that. It's a copycat system, but
which would be fucking phenomenal in the case where we see a Bitcoin strategic reserve at the nation state level. I mean, as we,
absolutely.
I'm sure Corey's aware, but Florida, we're already on the state level down here talking about adoption. So, and like I told you in that conversation we had not too long ago, maybe Marshall too, about, I mean, at that point you're not far off from every small township and county. And hell, if I'm a police department, honestly, this might be one of the best assets to have because it's always get you're going to get sued. Like that's a fact.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
a couple Bitcoin on me as far as reserves, or even better, you seize crypto in some sort of drug investigation. Well, now the municipality or whoever it might be has that access to those funds, and maybe they can do something decent. I'm not saying they're going to do something good with it, but
Sure,
ideally,
sure.
in that situation where you see something like that happen, that'd be phenomenal. I mean, there's just so many use case.
Yeah,
Every them say, well, there's no use case for a Bitcoin. When in time is it not useful to have capital? Like I don't understand. There's nowhere in the world where it's not useful to have access to capital or capital.
absolutely.
And it's almost instant too, like as
Yeah.
far as an asset goes. Most of your other things that you can buy in like real estate, I mean stocks, I guess you can kind of do it now, but like, hey, if I have $10 million worth of Bitcoin, I can liquidate it right now and send it and convert it to whatever I want. If I want to sell a $10 million house, that's for one, that's a high ticket, that's kind of a niche market. Only a
Hmm.
few people are gonna be able to afford to buy that, and then I'm gonna probably have to wait a couple months, and then all the headache that comes
Yeah,
with
yeah. It's
paperwork
like
and all that
60
signing.
days that yeah,
Yeah.
you ain't gotta wait on that. You don't need a title company. It gets rid of them.
Hmm.
Try to move your money anywhere, bro. It's insanity.
Yeah.
About the convertibility of crypto all the time. I love it. It's insane to me, and that's people stress about the Bitcoin. Like, well, I can afford Bitcoin. Well, that's great. You can afford any of these coins, and guess what you can do? One day, if you just need Bitcoin, and for whatever reason, let's just say your tax collector now only takes Bitcoin because that's where we're at in the world. Okay, well, I'll convert my Pepe, pay my $47 registration fee, and it
Exactly.
doesn't really matter.
Yep. Yeah, that's a good
Um,
point.
to touch on what Nate was talking about, like Florida's been on it even in 21. So the mayor of Miami, he set up even then to where they would accept, like, if you wanted to pay things in Bitcoin, you could do it within, I think, in the city.
Hmm.
And then also like certain city jobs, you could take part of your salary, I believe, in Bitcoin. Like they were kind of ahead of, they were talking about this way back then, and now the whole state is kind of getting on board. And now you got other states, I think Pennsylvania and some of them are getting on. So yeah, this is like a game theory with the whole nation state, people putting it on their reserve. States here in America are going to do it individually, and I'm sure you'll see it outside of the United States. Um, and a interesting theory I have is that fiat is going to be dead, and we all know that. But what I mean by that is like they say Bitcoin competes against the dollar. The thing that's going to compete against the dollar is going to be the digital crypto dollar, whatever, whether it's USDC, the Ripple stablecoin, whatever. That's going
DT.
to be, yeah, that's going to replace the dollar and what we use today. And then other countries will do it. And you know what they're going to do? They're going to back that to Bitcoin.
Hmm.
That like we did way long ago, 100 years ago with the dollar and backing it on gold. They're going to back that digital currency to Bitcoin. So
For
everybody's going to
sure.
back their stuff off Bitcoin, whether Russia or Iran. That this is it's just gonna it's inevitable almost. It feels like that.
Well, to I guess to elaborate, well, not really elaborate, but kind of just think out loud on your point. If they're doing it backed by, I think like right now, if it went into effect right now, I'd say it has to be backed back again by gold, right? Because gold, Bitcoin hasn't caught gold yet, and so once it catches, then it becomes backed, and it feels like. And but like I said, like it started with if it went now, which obviously it's not going to go now. We still got some years to go before that happens. But to me, it feels like that's when the institutional faucet changes over, is because if you get all these nation states, you get all these countries dumping reserves in the Bitcoin, driving that price. Hell, if we do it as America, we'll be in the two with what the number that was announced by Trump. If we put that amount into Bitcoin, it'll be at 200K easily, like easily. So I'm saying all that to say once the market cap gets to gold, that's when that institutional kind of switch happens,
Yeah.
because it would be silly to be like, oh, we're gonna go back to gold, like being backed by gold. So we tried that, we did that. It worked fine. Then they came off of it. You see where we're at now. Now we're trying
Hmm.
to get change something different, and I think that's how this new transition happened. That's just my theory, though.
I think you just need to have multiple sort. Like it's regardless of how you feel about crypto. I think it'd be a great disservice on behalf of a governing body not to at least invest into it to some degree. Now, the U.S. already holds a lot of Bitcoin. I don't know why people just forget to talk about that all the time, but
Yeah.
you know, in the end, I don't really know where I was going with this point, but it's going to be ridiculous. But as far as institutional adoption and all that, and one of you made the point about salaries. Who's the mayor of New York?
Oh yeah, I know you're talking about. He was bragging about it.
Yeah, because he was up there. It wasn't too long. I think it was one of the first times it hit 100K this cycle. And he's like, all of you laughed at me because I took my salary in Bitcoin. And like, who's laughing now? So
Yep.
so to get at that level already, again, it's just I think it's happening. I think it's happening quicker than people dream that it would. But I think just when you see it in real time, it's kind of like, well, the movement's not as fast because you're looking at it at the macro level, and then you're just standing by.
Yep.
But I think it's about to go through like an acceleration phase. So like, I've only been in crypto for like 4 years. So when I was getting in, I was hearing of people talking about, in 2017 in that bull run, people were talking about it was a dream of institutions getting into Bitcoin. Well, now we're like living that now.
Hmm.
And now when America does something, obviously we're like the leader of the world when it comes to like trends, like people mimic what we do over here. So when you
Absolutely.
have mayors and presidents. That's why it's like even I think he's gonna do it, but even if Trump just saying that he's gonna do it causes pressure, it puts pressure on other countries to be like, well, hey, maybe we need to look into this too.
For
So I
sure.
think by us being vocal about it and out in the open versus even just 2 years ago in 22, it was like you don't want to go to America with crypto. Now it's like looking like this is going to be the place to go now. Screw
Yeah.
Dubai. It's too hot.
Yep.
I'm going to America. Like it's literally gonna accelerate the whole process
He
and it's
said
gonna
it's
be
too hot.
no, seriously.
I think the adoption that we'll see post inauguration will. I mean, I don't even think people can measure. I talk to Bo about this all the time because everybody in the Signal chat wants. We're talking charts and this and crash and that and cycle this bull bear. I'm like, bro, I don't think we ever see a bear market like that unless there's just like a total collapse of everything worldwide at some point
Yeah.
post the Trump administration. Like, I just don't see it because at that point, the price of Bitcoin will be so high. Like, people will chase that forever. Because once we adopt it, and we'll just say we're pushing, we'll say we get up to 500,000, maybe more coins. I mean, who knows how many Michael Saylor have by the end of this administration? And then we start closing in on that gap where that 21 million's been absorbed. I mean, that's when the real FOMO start. Like, people talk about FOMO now. My goodness, wait till that number, wait till they say, there's only 10% of all Bitcoin ever left. Well, holy shit, I got to jump in. What's the price? Nine
And
point.
it's gonna take 100 and something years to get that
Yeah.
10% out, mined. So me and Bo talked about that too. Like I feel like when the exchanges, you can't go on Coinbase and buy it anymore. It's gonna go crazy in the sense of, well, now as an individual who has it, I can sell you Bitcoin. Let's just say it stayed at 100. I can probably tell you, hey, I want 150,000 for it now because we know the
You set your
appreciation
price.
value of it. I can sell it for more than what the market is calling for it because good
Yeah.
luck finding it.
Well, that's the beauty of it because I don't have to go through the market. I can't ever trade my Amazon shares for more than what they're worth, their value.
Yeah,
So the peer-to-peer transaction, that's where you really get to make the money in the long run as far as your stores of value. The institutional money, I think people won't care about it in that sense over time for the long run. Like, the institutional money will be great for the guys that bought XRP with the 40 cent price tag. They'll always love it. They'll always hold it. But 20, 30 years from now, when those entry points are whatever, massive, over Ethereum number, just over 5,000 or whatever it looks like per H bar, XLM, Cardano, whatever you pick one, it's going to be, people are not going to see it because they'll say, well, it doesn't have that same intrinsic value that the Bitcoin does at that point when the situation becomes a little more desperate as far as volume.
true. I, I don't know, man. It's gonna be interesting. I think we are kind of in a little bubble though, as far as like our environment, like us talking, doing this, Signal. That's why I like to pick people's brain, like people that aren't in crypto, and kind of see what they are talking about and what their thought process. And like, there's a guy that I work with. He bought XRP. And he's like, oh, he was reading an article. They're not selling. They're never gonna sell. But his thing was, if I make $100 million off of crypto, that he's like, I'm just gonna sell it all. He goes, there's no point in risking it anymore. He's like, because it's not for sure. Nothing is, it's not certain. And I'm thinking, well, I know better because again, we just named all this stuff we just talked about are reasons for it to keep going. But he's not in it like that. So you still have this like mindset that it could still go down like to zero, or it completely go away. Like they think it's just gonna vanish, but they
Right.
don't feel like that about their money when they get paid every Friday or whatever. They
Yep.
don't feel like it's going to go away necessarily. So I just thought that was very interesting because I was like, why would you do that? I was like, why would you sell all of the crypto that made you that 100,000? Like,
Yeah.
yeah, you maybe feel like you don't need any more money, but why would you give it to your family, give it to your kid, whatever, like, why would you sell it all?
Because they don't have the understanding of the projects, and that's As you guys were talking, I was like thinking about a couple different things, but I think like a new investor or a person new to crypto, they don't fully it's like they think it's like a get rich quick type of thing. It's like, oh, well, if I put my money here, how am I? And it's like this is a cycle. Yeah, you'll make some money along the way, but you need to understand like this is where it's progressing towards. And another funny thing is people that are new to cryptocurrency, they always think they're astonished that you can buy a piece of Bitcoin. They think you got to have the full $100,733.82 right now to buy it. And it's like
It
such a misconception.
blows my mind, bro. That's because I'll lay out like the entire global infrastructure behind crypto, and they're like, "Well, I can't buy a whole one." I'm like, "Did you listen to a fucking word I just?"
But they're scared, bro. Honestly, their emotions are they're a little nervous, because it's something
Sure.
they don't know. They hear you saying all those good things, but it's almost like the what's the guy that back in the day, the oil snake guy, this is a miracle drug. It can cure
Oh,
XYZ.
right.
Sometimes it can probably feel like that to them, like, it sounds too good to be true. So they put their walls up and, are a little hesitant. But that's where education is important. Like you just gotta, the more you learn, and Michael Saylor taps on this, if you put 10,000 in, you'll be like, okay. If you put 1,000 hours in, you're gonna be fully invested in like
Right.
this
Hmm.
is the next thing. So yeah, the more you educate yourself on it, the more you know. Again, everything we just talked about took us time to learn and to understand it. The guy who's fresh coming in, they have no idea. Like you said, they don't even
Yep.
realize that you can buy a fraction, which I wouldn't even say it's just crypto. That's investing in general. People don't
Sure.
understand investment, and you could do that in stocks. You could buy
Yep.
fractionalized stocks and all that stuff. But I think when people with Bitcoin specifically, I've talked to Bo about this. Like 100,000, most people can't afford it. But theoretically, with the way everything is going, it being finite, like it could essentially keep going up forever. And that's kind of, I think, what Michael Saylor is getting at. Like, if I had a price target of his bear case is like 15 million. His bull is like 46 million. Like if I was so firm and confident on that, I would buy at 100 grand too. Like, hey, let me get $1 billion. I need to go buy more because I think
Yeah.
it's going that high. Um, but again, regular people get it twisted. They rather invest in their 401k and in S&P, which they're going to yield, 10, 15%
If
on
you're
it yearly. If you're lucky, you might get, 7 to 8%, but you need to look at crypto and how, or Bitcoin and how it's going up and up and just thinking percentages, not necessarily, oh, I need to buy a whole Bitcoin. If I have 20 grand in my savings account, you need to, well, not financial advice, but you need to allocate a good chunk of that into it because it's probably going to double that in a couple of years, and you're going to have more than you would just letting it rot away.
Yeah, I
I,
saw a thing that said 3 to 5% of your or I think it was something that you sent earlier, Nate, like 3 to 5% or something like that of your net worth.
yeah, I would say higher than that.
I
And
agree.
and if somebody came to me with 20K in their fucking savings account, I'd probably slap them over the head. What are you doing, man? What are you doing?
Yeah.
Here's a list of stocks. Here's a list of cryptos. Here's a list of ETFs. Here's a list of everything.
But again, it boils down to education. They
Well,
don't know that.
education is also tied to a service in this country, which is honestly the biggest problem because nobody ever talked about fucking. I mean, God forbid you learned about taxes or learned how to
For
manage some,
sure.
how to invest into anything. Like, yeah, and Corey said it too, and that's why I said thank you because it's like, bro, I can invest in anything partially. It doesn't. You don't have to get out there and buy one whole Tesla, one whole Amazon, one whole Apple stock, one whole any stock. I was like, it's convertible too. It's not as fast as crypto, but
Get your feet wet.
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. But yeah, like I said, it's it's not sad because at some point you do have to do the work, but it's just crazy to see the overwhelming majority seems to not truly understand anything about investing or money in general.
Well,
Yeah.
I mean, when we are taught by the boomer generation, hey, you want to build up your I mean, they say it on the news all the time too. You know, it's still out there. It's like, hey, build up your savings, put as much as you can in your savings. You want to have a beefy savings. Yeah, you want a 401k, can you max that out? You know, those are like the narratives that were talked about. And then hell, I could tell you when it happened, and I ain't got to even go on the numbers, but I called Nate and I said, yo, how much you got in your savings? And he told me, and I went, next day, I was in crypto, baby. Heavy, heavy. I was astonished. I was like, okay. And I mean, but he put me, because I mean, like, when you don't grow up with any type of like great financial advice, and I never really just put the effort into like learning about the banking system, and damn, they're lending my money out. It doesn't matter that I got X amount of dollars in savings. They're lending all that shit out and I'm getting pennies back on it in interest rate. It's just it's kind of breaking the cycle of, hey, you don't need to do this anymore. There's a different way. Even if I had a bottle share last weekend for bourbon, and we were talking a little bit about this. And we go in the staking, right? So if you staked and you stake, Cosmos has the highest rates, like 20 something percent.
Hey, you.
It's out of control. I'm like, there's no lockup period. Why wouldn't I put a heavy amount here? If I need it, I just pull it out, excuse me, and send it back to my bank. The
100%.
amount that I make in Cosmos in 2 months, not even in a month, is more than I would make with it sitting in a savings account at any bank that has the best savings rate around the country.
With way
There's
more money. You could have thousands in your savings and get pennies. You
That's
you
what I'm
could put
saying.
$100, like $100, and make that in
Yeah.
Cosmos, if not more. So yeah,
Well,
it
I'm
doesn't make
running
sense.
a test right now. I'll let you know here in a month.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
there's the
just put 100 into Cosmos, so we'll see.
yeah. Yeah. Well, I know none of this is financial advice, but I'm going to say what I actually told you. Because you asked me, and I said, and I want to make this very clear. Uh, I said I have an emergency. I don't even believe in. Don't even talk to me with the word savings. Don't. I don't. I have an emergency fund, which at top end it should fund me for 3 months, given I don't make any money, and then the rest of all of my money is in the stock market, whether it be that crypto. It's probably about 60-40 crypto right now, and then just I mean everything like I've mentioned in it so far, Apple to Amazon to
But that's not financial advice.
Donald Trump Entertainment.
Donald Trump.
I
Hey, you figured we figured out what, you kind of always heard people talk about, like people with money or something. Like, I don't know. I always heard people like, oh, figure out how to make money passively. And at the time, I'm like, how the hell do you do that? You have to have a business going? They say that, but nobody really
Yeah, they
gives
don't
you the
elaborate
game.
on it.
Even just saying, hey, go buy some stock and collect dividend. There you go. Like, that's passive income.
Sure,
And
even
it might, and you're not going to get rich off of it, but hey, it's going to build up over time, and eventually it probably will
absolutely.
make you rich.
100%, and even let's just say you don't even want to buy that stock. Great, you got a program like River. I mean, River's a Bitcoin broker, but you can park your money in River and get 4% return on that money in Bitcoin without purchasing Bitcoin.
Mhm.
So it's essentially a savings account where you're increasing your value of return and you're getting a better asset for that value. And you can
And
take that money. It only takes a few minutes in River. I know that for sure. I used it right back to your bank account, whatever you need to do. So yeah, there's just so many ways to leverage your position. No matter how much money you have, it doesn't matter
yeah,
that. just, once you start learning about, then that's when you start compounding. When you start compounding, then it's game over.
Yeah, compounding is huge, and we've been talking in like kind of thousands. It feels like, but I mean, really, the entry level can be a dollar. If you got a dollar, you're still early and so far ahead of most folks. So if you put a dollar in a week, I mean, you're still doing more than most. So, uh, I, we're just throwing around thousands because it seems like it's easier just to talk about,
It's just like,
but so. Uh, all right. Well, with that, let's wrap up the crypto. We're gonna do a small segue. I'm actually sipping on some Larceny A23 tonight.
throwing out bottles and stuff.
It is a banger bottle. Uh
Damn, I'm gonna have to grab me something to drink.
yeah, everybody go ahead and turn up a little bit. I know Nate's a Hennessy guy. Um, but my Larceny, it has some like cola notes, some nutmeg. It's a pretty good with a nice oaky finish on the end. Um, kind of some chocolate on the nose. Chocolate.
So after this cycle, are you gonna drop your own whiskey, brother?
No, I'm not. There's just it's funny because I feel like everybody thinks like that's the thing to do, but there's too many other big dogs out there who have already got the master recipe. They've been in it for generations. There's no need for me to even come along. And this stuff, this is 6 to 8 years, I think is this bottle, how old it is. By the time I get my first yield, I'm gonna be dusty. So I'm good. I don't need to even mess with it. And I know they got no there's a few companies out there that like age the whiskey for you, and then you can buy their barrels, go out there, test their barrels, and then buy them. But it I don't know. I'm not doing that. I'll keep enjoying everybody else's stuff. So, with that being said, we're gonna jump into
I want to throw a live update in there before we skip out of crypto. SUI is up 32% on the day.
love to
Let's
hear that.
go.
So we're
We're
at what? What's the price on that?
we are approaching all-time high right now.
So 475 currently, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, that's disgusting.
Yes.
Love it. Love to hear it.
Beautiful. We talk,
Okay, so this next piece is hilarious. Did you guys see there's this ongoing kind of like handshake duel with Macron, the French.
yeah. I don't even know if it's a duel at this point. My man
It,
Trump with that overhand grip at the right there in the threshold on the stairs. That was tough. That was boss level shit.
I would love to just go ahead and we're gonna do a screen share here,
Go
and
ahead.
I have the 2017 and the today, well, not today, but as of the most recent handshake exchange. It's only like 33 seconds long, but it is hilarious. Check this out. This dude is awesome. Just dominating them.
We don't see anything.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
I currently don't see it. Jamie, can you pull up some help?
There you go. There you go.
There it is. Does
Man, it went from PC handshake to this is the homie.
I think kisses? I love it. America's back. Dude. We got full spectrum. We're on the main stage.
Look at that.
Look at
Look
that.
at him.
Get your little bro. Don't try to little bro me.
He tried to he tried to pat my man's hand at the end. He said, "Nah, we ain't doing all that."
Yeah,
Nah, I thought it was hilarious. This happened earlier last week or this week, and it was just one of those things where it was like, this is just too good. This is good media right here. So, uh,
sometimes the ladies on the view are losing their minds. I'm having a great day.
That usually signals something good, huh?
It usually means the government, American politics is doing something phenomenal.
So,
Already acting like the president. Well, what the fuck is he supposed to do?
do we know who the new quote unquote, and the fact that they are even just like creating this position is just bullish as all get out, but the
Paul
cryptos are
Paul Akins, ladies and gentlemen.
Paul Akins.
I think he's the former CEO of PayPal. Am I mistaken?
Yep.
Did he formally like accept it?
I
Oh
think
yeah.
that's
Yeah.
Yep.
okay.
How's that feel? No, we got a crypto czar.
I mean, it feels like the freaking planets are aligning, which they literally are about to coming next month, but it feels like that for crypto too. Like everything is just coming in alignment right now. That's why I feel like we're gonna go through an accelerated like period of adoption where uh have you guys seen that chart of I forget what they call it, but it's an adoption chart where it shows like 1%, 5%, and then once it hits that threshold, it just goes straight, like it's straight up, like
Yeah. Yeah.
Legal
with
note here,
with
ladies.
all technologies.
Little legal note. Paul Akins is the SEC chair. David Sachs is going to be the new crypto czar.
There it is.
So both
Money, money, money.
Bullish.
bullish as all get out. We're
Yes.
a lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money.
A lot of money. The handshake. Oh God, the Democrats. I
Nate,
guess
you want to tell us about the Dems?
so. I've been fired up about politics lately, but I just the amount of hypocrisy I have seen. I mean, just in the past couple of weeks, across everything. I know I wrote down about Hunter Biden's pardon here, but just literally everything, bro. And I'm gonna get through Hunter Biden first. But just the blanket pardon is correct. 10 years blanket pardon is great. It's one thing to pardon somebody of a crime, of okay, I pardon you of these charges. Well, whatever you've done for 10 years, it doesn't matter. Let's all just move forward. Like I would love to have. If I knew I had that card in my pocket, I'd probably do some pretty wild shit myself. But either way, just to the hypocrisy point of it, like imagine that role is reversed and this guy's abusing, the justice system, which really blew my mind because it's like, okay, well, the people that just said that the justice system is not corrupt is now saying that it is corrupt and it's politically motivated and it goes on these witch hunts because of for political reasons. But if you say that on the other hand, it's like, well, it's just misinformation, disinformation, or whatever they want to call it. I
Yep.
find it so extremely crazy to me that just you could shift the octave and change your tone so fast depending on who you're defending. It's insane to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that 10-year pardon, is that like previous 10 years or what
Yeah, from
move? Okay.
pardon from January 2014 to January, well, I guess 2025 now, but which is seem to know the exact dates when that started, my friend. But not only just to that point on the political situation and the hypocrisy of just not just the politics and the news in just people and mental health, and it's insane to me. I mean, the same people that are out here like screaming and telling everybody they're joyous that this guy got publicly executed in the middle of the street are the same ones, or at least there's a lot of overlap as far as they'd be shouting against RFK, who said he was going to dismantle that entire industry. It's like, well, pick and shoot. Like, it's cool to shoot somebody in the back of the fucking head on the street. The party that said they don't want violence, but it's not cool for him to come in here and do it judiciously and through legislation. Like, it's just again, the hypocrisy is so insane.
Yeah, that it isn't crazy. And I'm glad you kind of brought that up, that whole United Healthcare situation. Like we can get into that too, because it's like it's so weird. Like, what is y'all's opinion on that? Was that just a lone guy doing it on his own that whatever for whatever he had his reasons wanted to take the dude out, or was he a paid gun? Like, I don't know, because when they brought out his story about him being like who he was, like he came from a wealthy family, went to private school. Like, what's his beef with the healthcare industry? Like, his family isn't probably on Medicare, Medicaid, and all all that stuff like that. So,
I mean, I saw some stuff, and again, it's today's day and age. It's very hard to disseminate like what is facts, what's real, what's somebody's opinion. But I saw he had some issues with his spine, and I don't even know if these things go together. But at least any point I could find for as far as relation to the health industry, he had major back surgery and had all kind of problems from that. I guess because they explained what I saw was explained because he kind of went offline a few months prior to the situation, and well, he was taking this and paying this, and his mental health was in decline because of this. Couldn't I seen people going as far as to say this guy couldn't, he had sexual, all kind of problem with his getting it up and everything like that. So I mean, I don't know about that. The thing that probably triggers me more, it's not like, okay, well, why would he do people do crazy shit all the time? That's not where I'm at. It's like, how did this smart mother, I mean, the valedictorian, where did he go? Harvard, one of these Ivy League schools, like
mhm.
pushing 130, 140 on the IQ. They're just posted up at McDonald's with everything they need to convict you of this fucking crime, bro. Like, what?
Yeah.
Those are the parts for me where I'm like, who is this motherfucker? Or like
Oh,
you knew that I was going to be here at 5:40 in the morning, walking down the street. Like you knew the building, you knew everything about, it just those types
And,
of things get crazy to me. But not only that, is we know more about this person within 24 to 48 hours than we have on both assassination attempts of the former president, on like literally every crime that's been committed in the past 4 years. We know more about this guy already than every one of them combined. Hunter Biden, Russiagate, fucking you name it. Everything that we got this information so fast. We know his family. They still ain't interviewed the fucking family of the kid that tried to assassinate Trump, hit him in the ear. And they got that guy on camera. They said, there he is. Nobody talked to him. What? Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like they've already delineated this guy's entire family history and everything like that. It's like, bro, and that's just the Facebook CIA. We ain't even got into any of the three-letter agencies we got working for us.
no, you're hitting it on the head. I thought it was very weird how quick it came out. And again, I watched the video on Rumble. Um, it it looked like somebody a smart person did it. I mean, he rode up on a bicycle. He had a silencer. They say he had ultrasonic rounds in the video. You could see every time he pulls it jam. He's clearing it. Another one clears it like three, four times and out of there. And then all of a sudden, yeah, you're sitting at post up McDonald's with everything. Like, it don't make sense. It don't make sense. Somebody who,
from
if
what I seen, all they had was this. Yeah, I mean, he had everything else covered up.
Don't
All they
even
had was this.
get me going on this. This guy, bro, let me tell you something. I don't know if I'm crazy, but I literally saw two different videos. Like the video that I saw in the beginning, this guy's rocking a black jacket and like a grayish, maybe tan kind of knapsack type backpack. I flipped the channel. They're hunting down somebody in a green jacket with a black, and I'm just like, what the fuck is going on? Like, who is this person? And then, yeah, and to your point, the only thing anybody can see on this guy is the bridge of his nose, his eyes, and his eyebrow. One photo, I got a guy with a massive unibrow, and the next
yep.
I got a guy with two different eyebrows, looking decent, looking sharp. I mean, good looking young man, like kind of indistinguishable. I don't. It just seems so foreign to me, as with all things going on right now. To be honest.
It honestly makes me feel like the guy that really did it, he's he probably was a three-letter agency or again just a professional at it because that was the fall guy. Whoever they got right now is just the guy for the show. Again, they're
Yeah.
masters of deception. So this is all the show. Like you said, they pushing this in front of us and they're so quick on finding all these details. But
Where's the Epstein list? Where
This
where
start.
yeah, where's the
where
Epstein list?
where's
This is
what?
about to be our first and our last show, ladies and gentlemen.
I don't fuck. Let people no, I'm here. I told you. You said you got to come through. I'm coming through. Here I am. Um, just kidding. But it is. It's all fabricated. Well, I'm not gonna say it's all fabricated, but at least 90% of what we see is meant for you to see it that way. Because
Yeah.
there's just Lane Maxwell. Where's the proof? Where where are all these people who are fucking trafficking kids and raping them and doing all these crazy things that we've heard of?
Mhm.
Everybody, yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, where's the evidence? Where's the convictions? Where's
Well,
where's the where's the jury?
I think it has to do with the people that are involved with it. I mean, look at the whole Diddy Jay-Z thing. Somebody made a good point about this. They're like, they're celebrities in the known. They were doing this in New York and Miami and California in our backyard. The people that were on Epstein Island, that was like way more hush hush. Private island, middle, out there in the ocean. You had to be invited to come out there, versus like how they were doing it right here. Like, anybody, I could go walk down Miami or some girl could go walk down there and be like, hey, they might get an invite. That's not going to
hey,
happen
we
to
got this
Epstein.
nice lavish island with mansions, and get them out there, and it's a wrap.
So I don't know. And again, it's a way for them to, there's different levels, like, yeah, those guys are rich and wealthy, but the people that were going to Epstein Island, they have more than money. Like they have real like power. Like they make decisions on what goes on with the world and everything. So I feel like that's why that's slow roll to get out.
Hmm.
And this is just,
Well,
again, this is just to appease the masses. The whole Diddy thing. They've been talking about this for 6 months now. Like,
It's yeah.
again, I don't think we're still technically under the last administration. So once the new administration gets in, I think is when things might start moving a little quicker in that realm. But
Well, problem, and even publicly, what the problem will be is that once we start moving a little quicker, as you say, they'll start to find out that this thing was intertwined with a little more than they thought, so they can't release it quite as fast as they want to, regardless.
absolutely.
yeah, I agree with that.
Here it comes, Diddy's a fucking Fed, and he's been working with the federal government for how long, and they've been extorting, other very, high profile, maybe industry, not necessarily government, but maybe industry leaders and things like that from pick a country, throw a dart, so it'll be tough. I mean, God, if you want me to take it to extreme, crazy, crazy town, like how hard would it break the American populace if Michelle Obama and Barack Obama have been trafficking children and got war crimes under their belt, and like how do you release that? Not even just like fuck the people and how they from a country standpoint, like you as America, do you really want to say like, hey, the leader of our country for 8 years, whatever, was trafficking children via this or doing that? Like, how do you do that?
I
Uh,
think you just say it. I mean, that's kind of not that I believe or align with anything that he says, but I mean, it's kind of goes with some of the translations you hear, and I don't speak Russian, but what Putin says, he's like the demonic West.
mhm.
They feed into this culture that we currently are in, and that weirdness that's going on. I'm trying to be as PR as I can, but uh the
We have free speech in America, both.
well, sure, but I don't, I think it's, you try to smooth it over and it's going to go more
I'm not saying
bumpy
no,
than
right?
it is just to
How do
release it and let us.
you really crack that? Because again, it's not like I'm just throwing those as an example. It's them plus or
Yeah. No,
whoever plus. It's a network. I mean,
Sure.
it's a cabal. It's a cabal of them. It's a whole group of them that are doing it. And they are wicked. And again, that's why I said it's not about money. It, they can, money just comes to them freely now at this point. It's all about maintaining their power and their fetishes and all this weird stuff that they're doing. And then you could, again, like you said, you could get real crazy with it. Like, like the whole, adrenochrome thing that they're doing, Pizzagate and all that stuff. Like, you know, Trump kind of tapped on this when he brings up the Hillary Clinton thing. So the two, like what you're saying, Nate, about, how is the public going to react to it? I feel like Trump was faced with a situation with Hillary Clinton because the Clintons are tied in with all this too. Um, he didn't want, he said, "Oh, I could have put her in jail, but
from
I
your
didn't want to put her in
perspective.
jail because she's she was the president's wife." And I thought like, like I don't think that's the real reason. The real reason is because it's probably what was going on is too like shocking to just release it to the public. People would be like,
Hysteria.
up in arms about, yeah, hysteria. So
Mass hysteria, and maybe
it's
oh,
gonna be a slow drip. That's what it's gonna have to be. It's gonna be a domino thing, and then
Or it's going to be when we're old and gray, more gray than I already am, and
I
they're going
think
to finally release it and say, hey, this is all what happened.
I think it'll be faster than that. I just think
yeah,
years ago Trump. I think the team he's got surrounding him now as well. They're gonna take this thing. They're gonna be a little more patient with how they approach these things. With the days of old, Trump might come out here and drop the motherfucking pictures on the podium. Here it is, folks. There, I got them all. You got to be strategic when you do that because I mean, my God, just him winning the popular vote was almost collapsed. Some of these people's mental. It did actually. I mean, I saw there was people committing suicide. They killed their family members and shit. Like that's crazy.
yeah.
And then for you to have to swallow the pill that everything that crazy motherfucker said that you believed, and he's all this. He's actually right. Oh my God,
All
So
right.
again,
great.
masters of deception. They're twisting your brain up.
Yeah, it's a deep wormhole.
Yeah, Mario Luigi, whatever his name is. What's his name? Luigi.
Yeah, the hitman.
Luigi, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it's crazy. Boy, big Trump. What I got on there? FDA meeting with Trump, RFK at Mar-a-Lago. That was interesting, wasn't it? I thought it was very funny that immediately, the FDA goes to consider banning literally everything that's horrible for you from all of our food, candy, sodas, XYZ. I'm like, oh, well, that didn't take a whole lot, did it?
Just the notion of a man coming in wanting to look at things.
So ridiculous.
He's
Because
going
they
to ban
scared.
everything. He hates everything. He just does pull ups on social media and drinks water. That's it.
You just ripped.
But you look at who's in there now, and then you look at RFK and you go, how?
Well, so that actually believe in his name, Rachel Levine.
Levine, yes. This
It's a
it's
mockery.
interesting. I just
It's a joke. It's a
how
joke.
are you in charge of health? And I don't know. It kind of ties into a little bit of like what you were saying the other day, Nate, which like, if you go to the gym and you want to get a personal trainer, no offense, but you don't want no big body personal trainer. You want somebody who looks like they know what they're doing. So,
I don't want no fat
I
motherfucker.
mean,
Yeah, you took the word out of my mouth. I was about to use that analogy.
So
yeah, if I go to the
horrible.
car lot, I want to talk to somebody who knows more than me about the car. I don't need the regular schmuck who's just like trying to get the sale. I want you to tell me something that everything that if you got to pull out your tablet and look at it. Sorry, you ain't. I'm not buying the car from you. I know more about it because I've already done the research on it. If I'm looking at this car, I'm telling you, I'm coming in to look at this car. You better not pull out a freaking phone or a tablet in front of me and start going over the specs and the details, bro. You better have it in your mind, know what's on your lot. I know that that's hard because there's a lot. I'm talking to a car guy, but there's a lot of inventory that moves through there. But
It's all the
when you
same
make that
though.
appointment, so
It's all relative. Even different car manufacturers, whether you're looking at a Nissan, a Ford, a Chevy, they all have similar features, different names. One might have this one can park itself and pull itself out of the parking lot. This one don't. It's all once you learn one, it's easy to kind of transition to other. A new person, that's the only person I can see it. They teach us the average car buyer today spends about 15 hours before they even go to the lot. So you better be prepared because they're coming. They already understand pretty much the basics, especially people like our age demographic, they're hip to it. So, you can't be out there and like, what does this button do? Well, I don't know, like, yeah, it's not going to go well.
What the fuck you
Sure.
mean? Why would you try to sell me this? You don't know.
We went, I was just trying to use an analogy and we got all in the car. So,
Hey, it happens.
so yeah, I mean, but to bring it back to, RFK and the FDA, it just, we need to pump the brakes. There's nothing in place yet. There's nothing that's come out yet. It's all just notions and assumptions. So everybody calm down. It'll be fine. Your Twix, your Snickers is not getting banned.
It's just getting real cocoa.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
it's getting
getting
real
real
cocoa.
ingredients instead of
Yep.
all the phony stuff, which again, that ties into the healthcare too. Like, I feel like those industries work hand in hand. Like, they're intentionally doing that, not because it's cheaper. We're the only country in the world where we're allowed to put the things that they put in the food. Like,
Well,
Bob Marley said it best, they're poison in the well that you're drinking from. Like,
Li-
yes, it's essentially it's the same reason McDonald's puts uh gypsum, the drywall that you have in your house. They put gypsum in your burgers. They put gypsum in the Taco Bell, and I'm not shitting on these places, but it's what's in their food. It's a filler. So essentially, they're just they're drug dealers. They're just cutting their product, and it's a cheap way to cut their product and make that uh um profit much higher. So
I mean, I get it. I get the business aspect of it, but it's not what you do, it's how you do it. There's other things that we could probably put in there
got to
that are
bring
just as
ethics back
cheap.
into it, though.
Yeah. It's honestly those people, whoever signed off on that, they need to go ahead and put the shackles on them because it's criminal,
Yeah,
like what the heck?
that's the
These
white
people,
collar
Little
crimes.
kids are eating it, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
well, that's what they're.
families feed their children this stuff, so it's just wrong.
Yeah, and that's what, and that really, it's kind of the meta point of what I was saying earlier. It's like this guy's going to try and fix this all from like the ground level to the top, and you'll sit here and defame him and just say all this crazy shit about this guy. But like I said, you're rooting for somebody who literally, and we don't even know who actually did it yet, ran up, shot this motherfucker in the back for no reason. It's just, it's insanity. That's where we're at. It's like, well,
Luigi
if you ain't get
Mangeloni here.
the ingredients, you ain't even gonna have to worry about the healthcare system to that degree.
Yeah. It would put them out of business. Well, I wouldn't put them out of business, but they would definitely, their profits would get hit pretty hard.
Yeah, I mean, there's just no reason that people should be as sick as they are, as fat as they are, as mentally unstable as I say that as a crazy person, but like the mental health in this world is so insane.
Well, I'm good with him coming in at ground level and kind of. Hey, it's going to take longer than 4 years to get it right, but uh, I don't know. I think we got to put some ethics back into in the food industry because if you're allowing folks to cut their the food with building material, what are you doing with our shots, our vaccines, whatever? So I don't know.
Boom, boom.
There's be a lot of change coming up here. We can get into that on the next cast, but kind of close out the politics portion of it. We got Trump. He's already said that he's good with not taking his presidential salary for a second time around
Or pension.
or pension. I think he donated it last time, didn't he?
Yeah, he donated to Veterans Affairs.
There you go. Who probably squandered it in some type of way by misuse.
I saw I saw one the other day said they busted it was like a 32 person orgy at one of the VA clinics, all workers, I was just like, man, I know people who are sitting in fucking MEB bars for 6 months, years, like waiting on somebody just to make a literally one decision based on some evidence they got in front of them. It's so insane, and this is what these people are doing.
Yep. Serving the war fighters, right?
And I know that's just the shitty majority or the shitty minority gets the most
Yeah,
attention.
the localized
And
bad apple.
it's just so ridiculous.
So, all right. Well, I'm gonna do a quick rundown of some sports topics really fast, and then we'll get up out of here. So, the college football picks and the snubs are officially in. We got in the first week of the playoffs, we're gonna have Texas and Ohio State. That's gonna be a fun game to watch. Uh, you're also gonna see Indiana coming out of nowhere, and they're gonna play Notre Dame. So I'm personally pulling for Indiana because I want to see an underdog win it, right? Let them go all the way. And then you got SMU. SMU smacking folks around, playing Penn State. The Nittany Lions. Their chant is so weak. Went to a game a couple weeks ago. My God, they play that little mountain lion after every single special play, anything, any first down, third down. They try to get people hyped up with this little kitty cat purring in the background. They got one set of speakers on the north end of the end zone, none at the south. All the noise is just hitting you from one side. It's a horrible stadium. I said it here, Penn State fans. Be better. All right. Then you got Clemson playing UT. Horns down. So,
He said horns down.
number one, Oregon, they got a bye. Two is Georgia's got a bye. Three, Boise State with the bye. And then four, you got Arizona State with a bye. So it's going to be exciting. Uh, come here in on December 20th. So can't wait. That's going to be Indiana and Notre Dame. And then the other one I wanted to talk about was this massive contract. I'm not even a huge baseball fan, but this massive contract that Juan Soto got. He was formerly a New York Yankee, and then he stepped on the subway and went down the way to the Mets. Took a 15-year, $765 million deal. Somebody didn't tell this man that the dollar is weak and he should have took it in Bitcoin.
At
So,
least 100K. Or excuse me, at least 100 million.
yeah,
He getting 700 million. He needs to put 100 million in it right away.
15 years, 765 million.
I don't understand that in the sense of like why baseball players are so much like paid so much more. I feel like again, I don't watch baseball. I'm not a fan, but when it comes to sports, I feel like, football and basketball, like those are the most watched. Probably most people go to the stadiums and buy merchandise. Like where's the MLB getting all this money from? Like where are these teams getting all this money from?
Well, I mean, they've been around the longest, right? I mean, you had baseball forever.
Yeah.
You got these generational teams that have just been raking in dough. I mean, the Yankees, for example, I mean, they've been raking in dough forever, and it's such a large market. Obviously, the Yankees aren't controlling everything, but uh I understand your point. I don't know where all this money comes from.
I mean, you're talking almost $1 billion
765
for one dude.
million for one person. That's insane.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't really care about sports, but there's more global adoption in baseball than there is in I mean, there's no Mexicans
Yeah,
out in football.
that's that's a very
in,
valid point.
in Central America, you will find people playing baseball, real football, soccer, and maybe something else. But there's no NFL. There's no league. There's no they're not playing football in school down there.
It is starting to gain traction.
It'll
Like the NFL's been trying to do it for years.
Yeah,
You can go back to Madden 2000 and you had like some Euro teams that you could use, but like that's why they travel over to England to play certain games. Even the college is doing it now. Florida State's first game was in Ireland. Like
yep,
that's never happened. Like do you guys know there's a guy, he's on YouTube. His name is his YouTube page is called Destroying. But basically what he does is he
yeah.
does one-on-ones where he goes $10,000 competition. And I watched one of them where he was over in Japan and like that again, they're watching us. That's why I said the America is the world leader when it comes to like societal
Anything.
trends and everything. People love American culture, but they hate American government. So what
Yeah,
we do over here is going to influence everybody. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like football is kind of starting to pick up. You do have leagues, but I do agree that, baseball is more prevalent in other places than it is
absolutely.
football.
It's baseball's everywhere. No,
look,
that was such a
It's
valid
so
point.
boring, man. It's
look
so boring.
again. I don't even watch baseball, and I know this Otani guy. Talking about coming straight out of Southeast Asia.
Yeah.
Might
Like,
be one of the best.
that's
I
what I'm.
mean, it's still early, but one of the best to do it. I mean, they won a World Series this year. Dude's been on the team for like 5 minutes, so not 5 minutes. You get my point, but he just got there and they get a World Series. The guy is a game wrecker, changer. So, anyways, that's a lot of freaking money. And I couldn't imagine this dude's probably gonna, I don't wish it on him by any means, but he'll get hurt at some point, and he's just gonna collect a check for. I mean, there's plenty of sports stories where you see like a guy gets paid so much money and then he never plays again, and he's just getting paid to uh, sit at home, millions to sit at home. So good for him. Good for Juan Soto. Uh, did anybody catch the Chiefs game? That was wild. That was fun. It was exciting. They definitely have some Steph Curry energy where they sold their soul to the devil because they had their backup kicker come in to win the game. This guy hits his kick. It goes up and hits the inside of the crossbar, lets the Lord know. Dong. They bang the gong, baby, and then it shoots over and through the uprights. It was such a wild like ending to that game. Couldn't believe it. Good for them, but holy crap, they definitely have sold their souls to the devil because they're just they've been good for too long. I didn't think we were going to see another team that was uh replicating what Tom Brady did and like back to back and doing winning so many championships. And here we go. We got Pat Mahomes. He's just finding ways. He's doing little things. He's little like his little shovel pass that he does. These little weird sidearms that he does. And somehow they just find a way. 4th and 10. Kelsey's sitting on his knees, just waiting for it to hit his chest. Boom, first down, kick a field goal, bang the gong, game over. See you next week. Crazy game. I was sitting up in bed. I never sit up, especially not for the damn Chiefs. That was exciting.
He said that was exciting.
And then last but not least, the best game of the week, the Bills. That game was non-stop action, back and forth. I'm telling you, it was like the game was never going to end. The Rams and the Bills. The Bills, they lost. It was 42-44. Matt Stafford put on a clinic. Josh Allen put on a clinic. If you were a fantasy owner of Josh Allen, you scored the most points you've ever scored in fantasy. Congratulations to you. That was a week. That was a fun game to watch as well. I just had a great football week, dude. I'm all hopped up thinking about the games. I mean, there was just like nonstop action in both games. It was everything. The hits, the catches were ridiculous. The refereeing was just as poor as it always is. The NFL's got to get a hold of that. They're wasting a lot of money. That's you talk about. We need to get Doge in here to make the officiating more efficient because that was disgusting. Every week, it's something so egregious that they call, and these boneheads out on the field are just they're looking at each other like we blew the whistle, we threw a flag, we got to make some type of call. Ridiculous. Anyways, that wraps up the sports segment. Just had to get that off of my chest. So, with that being said, we covered a lot tonight. We talked crypto. We ran through RFK and how he's going to demolish the food industry. We talked about Trump and his czars.
I like the hand gesture.
Czars. The only thing we didn't talk about was Google's quantum chip.
They're already behind.
Bearish. Bearish. It's not good.
Not good. Not good
Not
for
good.
what?
For blockchain.
For anything.
Yeah, for anything really, but yeah, it's
Bro,
kind of
and they about these fucking cold wallets, bro. They're not quantum computing. Nothing matters. There is no level of security that can't be hacked.
yeah.
Quantum computing coupled with AI, bro, is we're done. I mean,
It's the Antichrist, really,
we are
with them two together.
Ah!
we're slaves to keep the electrical grid going so they can stay in power.
Well, we'll leave it. We'll leave it alone. We'll just keep on moving. Act like I ain't bring it up.
No, it's great news.
Yeah, no, yeah, it's a headline. You know, when
I
I
think
seen it, I was like, oh no.
much like anything though, like it can be used for bad, but think there's a lot of good use case scenarios for it. Obviously, it's gonna get it'll get to a bad point at some point. But
They're going to use it for human trafficking.
well, I'm thinking like Galactular. Like I think it's in that realm. It's probably going to be really good for uh exploration and what Elon wants to do. But
That realm is competitive. In this realm, it's controlling. So it's just, I don't know.
sure.
You get you an Optimus robot out here with a quantum computing backup with AI, barely or halfway self conscious robot.
No, I agree with Nate saying like AI and quantum computing together. Like I said, that's again, you're gonna have like Terminator, iRobot. Like that's a reality now. Like that's not even just something in a movie. That could actually happen. That thing could look at when you lack conscience and you know, ethics and morals, like unless they instill that into those things, which I don't know how they, I guess they could code it in or something, but if you just looked at everything from a mathematical, logical perspective, you would look at humans as just a pest. What
Sure.
happens if it
Yeah.
decides it wants to get rid of us? So
Skynet's already online. They got they. I mean,
What?
just what is it? The F-35 or whichever one of them it is, but it runs completely. It can run completely autonomous with an AI program. So we're already there. It's just a matter of time. I'm not saying that AI is going to take over. Probably not in my lifetime, but eventually.
I'll be happy to be gone by then. It's gonna be a weird planet.
Well, man, it's going to get real weird once they release all the UFO documentation. They've been warming people up for that for 70 years.
dude, it's crazy. It's almost like a movie now. Like that you can go on, what is it, C-SPAN, and they're sitting in there talking with people from three ledger agencies talking about, yeah, they're admitting to it now. Like they're having open conversations about it. So
posted that on X. I said, "How is nobody talking about the fact that they're having an open hearing in Congress right now about alien activity on our planet? Like, what?" I think the highlight, the news articles from that day were so just ridiculous to me. I was like, "Bro, they are talking about actual. They have alien organics and hardware. It's not a conspiracy theory, and that's just what it is." And then
And that's
Tim Gaudat comes out here and says, "Well, as the leading, I was a 4-star admiral in the Navy, but as the leading oceanography or whatever NORA is these days." It's like, well, they live here in the ocean. It's like, no, nobody's talking about this.
yeah. Again, you said it though, conspiracy. It used to be conspiracy. Now, a lot of things that were conspiracy in 20, 30 years ago are now literally coming out as true. So we live in a funny time, an interesting in time in history because the world was flipped on its head and now it's kind of turning back the other way and we getting to watch it. And that's why there's so much confusion going on right now
Mhm.
and everybody's kind of lost in the sauce. But
Yeah. Well, COVID really fucked everybody up, set everybody down. And then it was just information galore. And
Yeah.
then
yeah.
even that, like, everything's a conspiracy theory around COVID. Well, guess what? 4.5 years later, what's the reality? Oh, it came out of the lab in Wuhan. The vaccine was not effective. In fact, cancer rates are up 340%. Every potential, morbidity is up in the hundreds of percents. And, it's just ridiculous. But all the people who were right, think about how demonized Joe Rogan was. Think about how demonized any of these people were for saying that, well, the mask is ineffective or this is ineffective or, locking people
Yep.
in their house is ineffective. Well, now all that's true.
Non-vax and all that stuff. Yeah.
I don't see any, it's just, there's no recourse for this shit. It's like, literally how is this possible? But luckily, the rest of the world's got it taken care of. I seen the Netherlands was going to have Bill Gates stand trial and all, everything going on with that. So cool, justice.
Yeah, that guy, he's like he wants depopulation. Like there's TED Talks and all kinds of stuff where he wants to reduce the population. That guy, again,
This
he's a
guy,
he's a demon. He's a
he,
demon.
he but again, this is what I'm talking about. This crazy amount of hypocrisy. Where like, because now it's all teams, whatever. I'm Team Trump, but Elon Musk is demonized, but their version of Elon Musk is Bill Gates, who is an absolute pile of shit. Like, this guy's got fucking malaria mosquito farms in Central America, just out here handing people malaria for the sake of immunity, and all these bullshit cases. Or I want to block out the sun, or I want to put aluminum in the air, or I want to do this, and I want to. It's like, who the fuck are you, bro? Go do micro.
Block out the sun. Dude, you trying to send us back to the ice age? Like
Yeah,
what is wrong with these people? You need the sun is the main life force.
that's the problem because, well, lock you inside so you don't get your vitamin D, and now guess what? You're even sicker. What?
Mhm.
So, like, what are you talking about, dude? When did you become some sort of global representative for health and what we should be doing with pharmaceutical? Of course, you don't want to invest in Bitcoin. You got pharmaceutical money that trumps everything right now. But fuck off, Microsoft. Fuck off, Bill Gates.
All right.
If never mind.
So with
He's
that
about to go
being
back
said,
in.
we'll talk some Microsoft next week. Put that on the agenda. Tomorrow we got Trump's ringing the bell at the New York Stock Exchange. Woo!
Trump is trending. I love it. America's trending. Freedom's trending. I've seen more American flag. This is probably the second period in my life where I see more patriotism, and only toppled by post 9/11.
Yeah.
And
Post 9/11 was
I know
like a patriotic time.
I'm in like red.
Yeah, no, post 9/11, you could definitely get that vibe. It wasn't about, the parties. It was just about being Americans.
That's
So,
right.
Which
That's
was all
right.
a lie too. Where's Jeb Bush at? Your fucking brother. That little piece of shit. Biden into a 20-year fucking conflict, multi-trillion-dollar war. Then my God,
We left 20 years of infrastructure and resources to destabilize the Middle East. The Middle East falls apart. The five fingers of the terrorist organization come alive, and they're all blowing each other up. We're sending them more money. They're blowing each other up with the shit that we fucking left there. Like, what the fuck? And then we got to pay for them not to blow each other up. Like, we did it.
Yeah. Stupid.
It's insane. I could go all night, but
Well, this was a good 2-hour episode. Like I said, we got Trump ringing the bell tomorrow. We got XRP and RLUSD trending on X. We're currently sitting at a healthy 101K on Bitcoin.
give me
The
the top.
market cap is at 3.59 trillion overall for the crypto market. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back. We're moving. We're going up. Good episode, boys. Cheers. Thanks for stopping in.
Yeah, you're welcome.
He said, yeah, you're welcome.